This is my North Pole bag, and it's such a good bag. It carries all the very important things I have. This is a button bag, which is kind of low right now because the elves have to do some work. And this is, making buttons and things. I have elves, let's see. A finder goes out in the snow and looks around in the snow until he finds something hard. And then he digs out what's around it. And usually it's a reindeer antler that they have dropped off because they grow antlers all year long and then they drop them or shed them. And so finder goes out and finds them, brings them in, brushes all the snow and ice off of them, and gives them to Cutter. He's another elf who works on buttons. And Cutter has a little saw, and he cuts little slices off reindeer antlers like you're slicing bread. Some are very, very thin, some are a little thicker, but all the buttons are different sizes and different shapes because they're no two alike exactly. And then Cutter gives them to Zip. And Zip has a little drill. And Zip goes zip, zip, always at least 2 holes. Sometimes zip, 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 3 holes. Once in a while he does zip, 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 4 holes. And very seldom, but it does happen, he does 6 holes. Zip, 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 zip. And my friends take buttons out of the bag. They can't look in the bag, but they can reach in the bag and take a button. Here's another thing. Elf John makes these little ceramic stars because at the North Pole we have 6 months of daylight and 6 months of darkness. Did you know that? In the 6 months of darkness, sometimes it's very discouraging. It's you don't see the sunshine. It's always cloudy and dark. And so John makes these for my special friends who may be in the hospital sick and can't go to parties and can't be with their family or friends. And at the North Pole, even though it's always dark for 6 months, we know, we've come to believe that up above the clouds and the storms and whatever's there, up above there are stars and the moon. And so the star at the North Pole has become a symbol of hope. And so when I give these to my friends who are not feeling well, I want them to look at it and hold it every day and think of the North Pole and the hope that we have at the North Pole that it's going to get light again, and it always does. So these are very important things I have in my North Pole bag. This is not my toy bag. Please understand that. This is my North Pole bag, which carries many, many important things. Remember Sandy? Oh, I didn't tell you about Sandy. He's the last elf who gets the buttons. And his job is to sand the edges so that they're nice and smooth, you see? Like this ring, if it has a rough edge. And he said, Santa, put this, he's got my picture on it. He said, put this piece of sandpaper in your pocket, and if any of your friends get a rough, sharp edge, just take it like that, like you're doing your fingernail, and fix it. Mom knows how to do that for you too, to help you. And so that's Sandy. And the last one who might do some work on the buttons is Big Elf. And he's the one who sometimes carves a face on them, like my rings. Can you see the faces on my rings? They make these these are very, very old, made out of reindeer antler. And if Big Elf gets them, he carves a face on them. And sometimes my friends get one of those. Okay, these are still cold. so cold from being in my sleigh. These are the keys to the North Pole. North Pole House. There are only 4 buildings at the North Pole. The smallest one has the biggest key. This is the key to the North Pole House. The next smallest one is the key to the elf house where my 29 elves live. A lot of people think I have hundreds of elves, but I don't. Just 29. And the next biggest key, you see, that goes to the toy shop where the elves work, and sometimes I go over and work with them. And the last key, which is the littlest key, see it right there? That is the key to the surprise building at the North Pole. The North Pole only has 4 buildings, like I said. Smallest one has the biggest key, that's the North Pole House. The biggest building, which is bigger than this whole building and twice as big at least, that belongs to the surprise building. And whenever I have friends who can't think of everything they want for Christmas, I say, I think I'll just pick some surprises for you. And I take this key and go to the surprise building, open that door, and just walk through. Toys, games, everything is in there. I pick them out for my friends as special gifts. So they're very important. And probably the most important is this. I'll show you this key. Oh, this is my cookie crumb comb right here. I forgot. Mrs. Claus always tells me, excuse me just a minute, please, that when I have some cookies, and I did have some earlier, brush them all out with a cookie crumb comb. And what I'm looking for is another key, and that's not it. That's Rudolph's baby leash. See how small it is? It's just a little tiny reindeer, and the reindeers laughed and wouldn't let him play reindeer games with him, so I made this for him. And I take him and hook this on his collar like that. And then I have the leash in my hand, and I take him out and I teach him reindeer games because he likes to play reindeer games, and he's pretty good at it. That's some North Pole diamonds. Oh, nope, that's an extra sleigh bell. I've got it right here someplace. I know it's here. I can't look. There it is. See, that's one of the buttons I'm talking about. That's oh, this is what it could be, a necklace if you wanted to hang it around your neck. But this key, a lot of my friends say, how do you get in my house, Santa? I don't have a chimney. I said, no, don't worry about that. The elves made this key for me, and it doesn't look like any key that you have at your house, I'm sure. But on Christmas Eve, this will open any door to any house, anywhere in the world. If it's a big castle in Ireland or Wales or England someplace, the keyhole itself is probably that big, and this key goes right in, and all I have to do is turn it, it unlocks that castle door. And if the house is small and just has one door to get in, and a little tiny slot for a key, just fits right in there. Unlock it. So if you do not have a chimney, don't worry. I have a key that will let me get into your house. That's my North Pole bag.